From two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners, I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
And we'll be giving you guys the insider secrets to take your trades business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast. Today, guys, we're going to be joined by Jeff from J&S Plumbing and newly founded business, Junkyard Dogs LLC. Jeff is a serial entrepreneur. He's been starting his own businesses from scratch. And funny enough, how we met, he saw one of my ads on social media, and then he decided to hire us to paint his house. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, Redion and Karmelo. Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you.
Can't wait to do this, man.
Thank you.
How'd you like your paint job?
Well, you painted it twice because I didn't like the first color.
But you did. Not our fault.
No, but you did. He tried to convince me to keep it that way, but he gave me an updated estimate to pay him a second time to paint the house again. You did in the same week. And I was like, I'm pretty cool with that stuff, but I was freaking out. I was like, I can't.
But luckily enough, Jeff has a pretty big business, so he could swing the second Olympian invoice. So he got the right color, and now he's happy with it.
I'm still paying it off monthly. It's minimum payments each month.
Right.
On Klarna.
All right, Jeff. So let's start a little bit. Tell us about where you're from. Where'd you start? What's your backstory?
So I am 33 years old. I'll be 34 years old later this year, which is crazy to think about. But I was born in Huntsville, Alabama in 1990. And entrepreneurship, it's in my genes. My dad is that way. He started in software sales back in the 80s when computers took up entire rooms. So he was going to Stanford University and got Penn State, you name it, and selling library software. And that was a new thing. So also when I was 5 years old, I would steal our groceries, put them in our radio flyer wagon, knock on people's doors and try to sell them.
The groceries?
The groceries, like chips, fruit. So, when you're 4 or 5 years old, you're doing whatever seems fun. Skateboarding, playing baseball. I like to go around and make money.
So fun to you was door-to-door sales, selling chips at 5 years old.
Yes. And it was 100% profit because I wasn't paying for the goods.
Yeah, because you were stealing them.
Yes. So it's always been something that I've been interested in. When I was 14, I was doing websites, web forums, HTML code, selling merchandise. And that was, 2003, 2004. And I enjoyed that a lot. But then, got into high school and got into other stuff. But my dad has 2 restaurants that he built from the ground up, pizza restaurants, ice cream restaurants with my stepmother, and they're doing very well.
Were you ever involved in the restaurant?
Yeah. So I worked there when I was in high school. And so I saw a business get started up from the ground up and how much time it took. They were never home. They worked, in the kitchen from... Or the cashier, or making gelato, or, like I said, my dad working in the kitchen from sun up to sundown until 1, 2 in the morning, be back there about 6 in the morning. So it was kind of nice for me because then I was in high school and my parents were too busy to keep tabs on me.
Okay.
So that was nice, right? So, but I worked there for about $8 an hour plus tips, and the tips were pretty good. But we weren't really sure what was going to work with the restaurant, whether it's ice cream, coffee, or the pizza. The pizza took off. It became the best pizza in the city, voted multiple times. And it was the first family restaurant in downtown Huntsville too. So now my dad worked with the mayor of Huntsville and redeveloped all of downtown.
Wow.
So it's a walking district now, multiple restaurants. People can walk outside with alcoholic beverages. So he really changed that whole town with this restaurant that my stepmom and him had. So it's very cool. So that's kind of been my thing. And then after working there in high school, I went to Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Go Tigers. Mm-hmm. I started in journalism there and then switched over to business.
Okay. Did you graduate?
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I kind of wish I was still there sometimes, but with money. Yeah, being broke in college was pretty rough.
But you still go out there. I see you all the time. You go and tailgate and...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So you kind of still there.
I'm still there, but it's 1,500-mile round trip.
So you
with the RV.
Yeah, it's a long trip.
Yes.
But
But it's still fun. So yeah, it's nice being back there with a little bit of money, but I don't party like that anymore.
and you're old now.
I know.
You can't hang anymore.
No, and I'm okay with that. A good book and some ice cream is cool.
All right, tell us. So you graduated at LSU, and then how'd you get into the plumbing industry? How did that happen?
So I'll fast forward a couple corporate jobs right after finishing LSU that moved me to Nashville and then back to New Orleans, Louisiana. And that was about 3 years worth there of doing that stuff. And I quit my job when I was in New Orleans, and I called my brother up. I said, hey, I want to come down and see your new baby girl and visit you. Oh, by the way, I quit my job. And he's like, what do you mean you quit your job? What are you going to do? I was like, I don't know, but not this. I was working for Sam Adams at the time, Boston Beer Company.
Okay. What were you doing? Sales?
Sales.
Okay.
I was up for Salesman of the Year of the whole company, the whole country as a rookie.
Wow.
But I had not a great relationship with the division manager and stuff. They didn't like the way I sold. It wasn't their way. But anyway, I came down to Tampa from New Orleans and helped my brother with his concrete cutting company, Florida State Concrete Cutting.
Okay.
We were jackhammering, I shit you not, a old elevator shaft at St. Leo University in 100-degree heat inside of a building, no AC. We were about a good 7-8 foot down on the ground. And this square was probably like 15 foot by 15 foot. And I'm sitting there jackhammering. My brother is cramping up, screaming in pain, like every 2 minutes from the cramps, being dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take over the jackhammer and keep going. And I'm literally getting phone calls from corporations that I applied to in the meantime saying, hey, you got the job. And for some reason, I looked back at my brother. I looked back at this elevator shaft and was like, I'm sticking with this. So my brother and I talked and we said, hey, do you want to start up a plumbing business? And I said, well, I've used a toilet before, so I've showered. So yeah, what else do you need to know? And I was really wrong about that. So we started up in 2015. We started up with new commercial construction. So restaurants, dental offices, remodeling buildings here in downtown Tampa. Now we go all over the state, and then I started up the service division, which, is repiping somebody's house with all new water lines, or also repiping a Chick-fil-A restaurant over the weekend, and so that they can be back open, right? So that's a turnaround. It's could be quick, but then we also go and help out, Aunt Kathy, who has a running toilet for $220, right? So we do it all.
So you go from small ticket to super high ticket.
Correct.
What was when you were starting the business with your brother, besides the elevator shaft, what do you think made you take that leap of faith? They're like, you know what? Screw corporate, screw having people tell me what to do, screw this elevator shaft. I'm going to start my own business with my brother.
I've never had to be told what to do. I did my homework when I was a kid, right? Like I go home, do my homework before I started playing my Xbox, or going over to Timmy's house. So that translated into adulthood too, right? My brother and I had a pretty basic business concept, which was more money in than money out. And that was pretty simple, right? I think you can overcomplicate it, especially at the beginning. But I think then you get, paralysis by analysis?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yep.
I've been hearing that lately. But
if you don't know your numbers,
right,
you can't grow. So
yeah, if you don't know your numbers, but also too, don't forget when you first start a business like I have with this new one, I don't really have any numbers yet.
Exactly.
So you're just going to go. And then you kind of worry about the profits and stuff once you get going, and you're going to take some hits to the face. So I like the idea of kind of us against the world mentality when we first started in 2015. And I got started off with a laptop, a Android phone. I don't know why he decided to hook me up, but he surprised me with that. I'm an iPhone guy. Shout out Tim Cook. But and one plumbing van, and I can get into more details. It's kind of a sad story about my first plumber, but I don't know if we want to do that or not, but
Let's keep it happy and
Right now?
cheerful.
okay, right now we'll keep it cheerful.
Maybe towards the end.
Okay. So I was working with this plumber that's been in the business for he's probably been a plumber for like 10, 15 years at the time. And my first call that I remember going to was around 4 p.m. I had some other ones, but the most memorable one after we got started, obviously, we go over to the mall here locally in Brandon. And the men's bathroom in the food court is about 2 foot deep of human shit.
Damn.
And I turned the corner and, because when you walk in the mall bathrooms, right, there's always this maze.
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's around the corner when you're coming out, oops, right?
Yep.
So
okay.
I had this anticipation as I'm walking through, and this smell is starting to hit me in the face. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to be fun. And I turn the corner and I'm soaking wet. I look down and there's nothing but brown water everywhere. And the maintenance engineer being like, you guys got to figure this the fuck out. I have such and such going on tonight. This can't be happening. And I'm thinking, we didn't do this. But, obviously it's like, oh shit, hold on. He called us to fix this problem and I have no idea what to do. So I'm relying on this plumber. We were there for about 10 hours.
Oh boy.
Till, like I said, so it was about 4. We got done around 2 a.m. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? I was sweeping human turds with a brush
for 10 hours
into dustpans and dumping them out because I didn't really know how to use the equipment yet. The K60 machine, the sewer machine, or pull a urinal off the wall, turn off the flush valve, right? I didn't want to flood the mall out. I didn't trust myself. Anything that I was going to do was going to make the problem worse. So let me just sweep up these turds and shop vac the water out. So at least I'm moving because I like to be doing something. And the maintenance guy kept coming back in again. My first plumber wasn't really the most go-getter you'd want, depending on his mood. Mm-hmm. So when the guy would show back up, I'm like, well, he's got to be moving. The only thing I know how to do is shop vac these turds and sweep them up. So that was one of my first, that was probably...
Wow, man. What a way to get onboarded into the business, huh?
Yes. And then I had to call and give this engineer the whole mall, right? He handles the whole property. So, and he's probably 65. I'm intimidated as heck. I'm 25 years old. And I'm trying to explain to him, well, the cast iron super duper flange, no hub adapter, gasket was, bent. And so my plumber's like, dude, no. And he grabs the phone. He's like, let me talk to him. I'm like, I don't know, man. I still think I can do a better job than you. I don't. So that was really, really scary. But, once we got it done and I was able to send that first invoice out of, that feeling of over $1,000, right? Because I don't even have $1,000 to my name at this time. $1,000 to me is like
$1 million.
It's not real, right? So I go, okay, that sucked really bad, but that invoice feels good, right? So I was hooked. After that. Like, let's do it. What else can we do?
So it was like bittersweet.
Yes. Well, yeah. It went too sweet. It was bitter poopy.
Slight hint.
So his initiation to business was covered in shit, but he made his first $1,000, which is a big achievement at the time for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It felt really good. Attached the pictures and everything. So I had to tell a story in the invoice, and, I'm using QuickBooks. And then all of a sudden the turd had hair on it. And then, I'm trying to make it as detailed as possible. So
you can justify the price.
Yes. So they're like, oh my God, these poor bastards. But, now 10 years into it, it's like, yeah, it's just another day, dude.
It's another day. Give us a little bit about your business now. Obviously, you're very successful. You're in Tampa's biggest plumbing business. You have 12 trucks out there.
Well, with construction, we have 30.
30 trucks out there between you and your brother, which is a big feat. It's very impressive. We look up to businesses like that. So tell us a little bit about your business, how it operates right now, your shop. You have an acre of shops and offices where all your trucks are there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah. So we're on our 3rd shop now. We own this land. It's tough to find property around here that can handle 40 trucks in the morning and trailers and stuff. But from the construction standpoint, I'll focus more on my side, service that I've handled. Right now I've got 8 trucks. I just bought out a smaller plumbing company in Lakeland, Florida. It was a family business. They were retiring. Very nice couple. They've been in the business for 35 years. And so they were looking for a buyer that they could trust, right? So I went over to their home and spoke with them, and they interviewed other people as well, and they picked me to continue on their legacy. Their company name is David Weeks Plumbing. Very nice people.
Nice.
Cheryl and David. So that just got closed this week.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. Yeah. It came with the old guy had a lot of awesome tools, and he's very happy to see, younger people, because I brought some guys with me to load it up, and, we're 30 years old or so. He was so excited to see, his stuff being loaded up to be reused by some young people. Not
Nice.
like, I'm not going to name shame anybody, but the big franchises that would probably just sell it or whatever. So we're at 8 trucks. This new one that I acquired in this transaction would be 9. So I've got 8 full-time plumbers, main plumbers, and then I've got 8 apprentices, helpers. So, each day we're doing depending on the size of the job, between 15 and 25 jobs a day. We might start the day with 8 on the schedule, and then you finished with, the phone calls coming in, and then figuring out the problem, dispatching, completing the job, and getting paid with 25 at the end of the day. So I've got 4 people in the office, office manager, and then office manager type assistant who's turning into like a project manager as he's learning, and then a service manager and a general manager. So these guys, basically the general manager, service manager handle the bigger ticket items, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, they're trying to find the $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 jobs. And then the other people are answering the phones nonstop, making sure that we're being efficient and getting to these residential calls or smaller commercial jobs at restaurants and stuff.
What are some systems that you put in place, you as the business owner, to be able to manage all that volume? Because 25 jobs a day at some point, it's like a lot of logistics, a lot of management. What are some systems that really helped you to manage this chaos pretty much? Because 25 jobs coming in every day, I'm sure it's a lot of work.
It is. So I implemented tasers on each of the office chairs. And if the phone, if someone doesn't answer by the 3rd ring, then someone gets shocked, and it's random.
Yeah.
So even if your phone's not ringing, you're making sure someone else is answering. You got it. It's beautiful. It's perfect.
Okay.
So I'm still waiting to see though if it's going to be medically approved. We're in the trial basis right now.
I'm sure you guys can pick up like he's joking, right?
No. So really, it's kind of an everybody do your job type of thing. And we have a calendar. We just use QuickBooks Desktop for our invoices.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of softwares out there for like,
CRMs.
Yes, but we use Google Calendar, man. We use Google Calendar, QuickBooks.
So you keep it simple pretty much.
Keep it simple because
no fancy software.
No, and I would love to. Really, I would. But what I found out from working with these plumbers, because, my first few years, I was in the field and then invoicing in the field and stuff with my laptop. I was out there. And so I got to work with these guys and figured out how they think and learn, that everybody thinks differently. Well, these plumbers, thankfully, have tunnel vision on their problem. So they're not worried about what anybody else is doing or how much this job is worth or how much this part is, unless you really force them to. It's not their natural abilities. So I said, okay, well, I'll take that role on, but I also am going to be the best plumber helper that you've ever seen, right?
Got it.
So what I realized is you need to have a strong office to handle all the back end stuff, that understand that, a certain job, you can make money at $5,000, but your competitors are at 20. So you need to be at 15. Plumbers don't understand that. They can do the job really well, but so you got to get business. In my opinion, I had to find some business minded people that understood and then implement some incentives, right? So, hey, and it's all team based. So we have team revenue goals each month, each quarter, right? As well as Google review counts too, right? We're trying to boost that too. So everybody works together instead of the whole problem of, well, I took that call first. Yeah, but I'm the one that quoted it. Oh, yeah, but I'm the one that actually ordered the parts for it, right? You're going to have 3 people trying to get a piece of a pie.
Got it.
So everybody's working together. So if Joe sells a $50,000 job and Timmy sells a $12,000 job, they're still clapping hands, right?
Got it.
And that's how I did it too, when I was there.
Are those guys commission based?
Revenue, profit sharing.
Got it.
Right, monthly. So
the plumbers are there to plumb, And then you have the support of the back end of the office managers, the project managers that handle all the logistics, the technology, the invoicing, the billing. So the plumber doesn't have to do all that.
Correct. Yeah. Because even the calendar for the plumber, and I love you guys. If you ever listen to this, I'm not making fun of you, but the calendar is color coded and it has their name and their helper's name in there. And sometimes Bob will go to Jim's calls and you're like, hey, Bob, why are you in Wesley Chapel? You're supposed to be in St. Petersburg. He's like, oh, sorry. Like, are you blind and you colorblind? So it's nothing wrong, but they have a lot going through their mind. They got to fuel up the truck. They're loading their ice box. They got to make sure they have the right materials. They have personal lives as well too. Business owners, don't forget that their life is not your business.
Correct.
You got to remember that they have their own lives. If they wanted their own business, they could probably go and do it if they really wanted to. So you got to remember that too. So they're busy, and and they are so talented, man. The tools and the way they're able to think on their feet and treat the customer. I mean, just the guys I've gone through about 50, and like I said, I'm down to 8 plumbers. There's a reason for that. I could have 20, but I don't want 20. I want 8 good ones. Well, or 15 good ones, but they're hard to find. And so when I work with them in the field and I don't like the way they do things, or they treat a customer bad, like take advantage of somebody, they're not going to work here. I don't like that. You know, I don't want salesmen. I want plumbers.
So what's a good hiring process you set up to find that good talent that's going to implement and then it's going to fit into your company's culture? How do you find those people, like those good plumbers?
It's really tough to find. Luckily, though, we being in year 9, we actually have a reputation around town. So these guys talk at supply houses. You know, they see each other's shirts, like, hey, man, I heard about that place. How is it? And if your guys are like, dude, it's sweet. Like, I just got 5 days off for Christmas and got paid. All of a sudden, you start getting phone calls. Hey, are you hiring? And for years, I could not find a single person that could come in and meet the requirements that I kind of thought we needed.
Okay.
And it was tough. So really what's happened now is building a brand, building a reputation as a company that treats their employees well. It's starting to kind of just take care of its own. But if you don't have that, obviously, so it's hard to say that time is your best weapon, but because it's hard to wait, because I was frustrated for several years trying to get this to another level. So I used Indeed.com, and I actually found a guy that I still have who's moving down from Colorado. His name's Brian. He's like my best friend now. But he was moving from Colorado down here with his wife, and he's 50s, I think 55 at the time. And so that worked. But usually what I found in posting online, these job postings availability, were your job hoppers. They wanted $1 more. They want that, 3 months signing bonus.
So they're not in for the long run.
It's just the industry, man. So like I said, I have 8 apprentices right now. The goal is for at least half of them to learn enough to get into a truck so they can make more money and have a better career too. But that's harder said than done too, because these plumbers, like I said, get tunnel vision. So trusting them to teach an apprentice everything quickly, it's hard unless you're there every day. Like, okay, Brian, make sure Jeremiah is learning this.
Got it.
When you're not there, then Brian's frustrated and does it himself so he can get home faster.
I see. So it's like you'd say, to sum it up, it's a long game.
It's a long game. It's a long game, but...
And building your brand as well, being a reputable company, treating your employees right, eventually will start paying dividends, and your brand will help you attract that good talent that's going to help you scale your business to the next level and have good team members.
Correct. Yeah. But to sum it up, yes. But don't be afraid to try the online things or a recruiter. I did that for my office staff. I found 2 people that I still have, and it's been over 2 years. I use a recruiter. It's very expensive. They take 25% of the salary of 1 year's salary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's expensive, but I was desperate. And so I found some good office staff that way. Plumbers, I haven't tried with that, but I don't recommend the temp agencies and stuff like that unless you have one big project that you're going to go balls to the wall on. Let's say you're going to plumb a hotel.
Okay.
But if you're looking to actually have W-2 employees, it's just going to take time. It's going to take time, but
Are all your plumbers W-2 or are they 1099s?
W-2, they're
All
all
of them.
full-time employees. Yes.
How do you motivate your employees to just, tunnel vision? Obviously, they take pride in their craft, but help the business get to the level where you are right now, like scaling, turning out more jobs. How do you keep them motivated?
I kiss them.
Okay.
Yeah. I give them kisses and tell them how pretty they are.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll wash their truck for them, maybe like in a bikini,
Okay.
just to let them know that, I really do care about you. Right? No, I'm kidding. That's a tough thing. So one thing that I would say that I'm good at is giving people raises and staying on top of that before it ever even is brought up. So when I see somebody's kicking butt and, they're taking night calls or they're not complaining, that's the biggest thing. You're going to come in, just do your job and go home. Then how much money do you want? Right? So it's you have to spread it out. So I would say on average, my guys only average like 3 calls a day.
Okay.
So that's how, that 25. So 8 trucks, 3 a day. Some guys can pump out 4 or 5, but it's rare, right? I realized that these guys want to be home by like 4 o'clock. So they get to the shop at 7. Their first call is scheduled between an 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. arrival time. Never give, by the way, if you're starting out, don't ever give your customer that you're going to be there at 9 o'clock. Because people are rude. They'll call it 9:02, 9:03, 9:04. Hey, what's going on? Where are you at? It's like, well, he might have stopped to take a piss. I don't know. So I thought that would be common sense that people would understand that. But no, so you need to give I give a 2-hour window or an hour. Because I'm not going to tell my plumber he can't stop for a Polar Pop. No, you're late,
Got it. So you give him like a range.
Right,
like a window.
right. So, I would say what I have found out is understanding that these people are human and making sure that you don't overload them, give them raises and bonuses.
And manage their workload too.
Manage their workload so they can have a work-life balance. And then also, like if I'm in the field and I got a guy who's using a busted impact, the next morning I'll have a brand new drill and impact combo in his locker. Because it's like, okay, it's $200 for me. But now, first of all, selfishly thinking he's going to get jobs done faster. But also, too, I know no other owner has bought him tools.
Got it.
Right? So when I find out that they're using things that aren't in great shape, I go and get them some new stuff. And then if they don't want to take it, I tell them that they have to take it. It's free. Keep it. It's for you.
Nice. Those are like some great ways to motivate those guys.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I've got guys that have been here with me now for, 5-6 years and no complaints.
Nice.
Well, not to my face. I'm sure they all talk shit. Who doesn't? But, they're still here. So
they show up every day.
they show up. Yeah. And then that's another thing too, is here's what I've learned. New owners out there, business owners. There's 2 things that I believe that people want, and that's money. Okay. And paid time off. All right. So I give them July 4th off and all those days, right? Off, Christmas, an extra day for Christmas too, like the day after. And then I pay them. And then it's my job or your job to make sure on Tuesday when you guys get back to work that you're not pricing jobs out at $2,500. It should be $40,000 or $4,000, excuse me. That's not that plumber's fault, So make that money back. So yeah, give them their 8 hours, and it's expensive times 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I take a hit on it. My brother disagrees with me on it sometimes, but I don't care because I worked in the corporate world. I remember how that feeling of we own you, right?
Mm-hmm.
How dare you? Oh, I'm sorry. You can't go to the doctor today. You only have 4.6 PTO hours left. You're like, yeah,
sucks.
kiss my ass. Like, what are you talking about? You're not my parents, right? So, for instance, I'll have a plumber that his wife is having a cancer scare. He's like, hey, we're taking her over to, TGH, Tampa General Hospital on Tuesday. And, my kids, she usually takes the kid. I'm like, well, take the day. I'll pay you. I really hope that your wife does not have anything wrong with her, I mean, yeah, you're thinking at the time, like, well, you already have 4 jobs scheduled for that day. It's like, figure it out, owner, me.
Exactly.
Disperse it, reschedule. Maybe the toilet leak can get moved. It's not an emergency. That building's vacant, right? And so 2 or 3 days later, after that, when I started using those practices of giving these people some time, I never remember like, oh man, that guy cost me $5,000 that day. I'm like, it's more of, oh, hey, how's your wife?
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, good, man. We just found out that, she doesn't have cancer and, it was this. And you're like, thank God, instead of, well, now I'm taking that out of your check.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
You got to take care of your people.
Yeah. So that's the motivation, I think. I don't promise them things and put carrots in front of their faces and then, hey, well, if you guys sell $25,000 in a month, I'll give you 15%. And then as soon as they get to $23,000, I start cutting their hours so they don't make their goal like all these other companies I hear about.
Wow.
So, I don't want to do that. They want to work. They want to plumb. They want to fix people's stuff. They're prideful of that. That makes them feel good. I can tell. Especially when they figure out something that other plumbers haven't been able to figure out, right? Like we're the 3rd plumber that's made it over there. And they're like, yeah, nobody can seem to figure this out. My guys turn their hat backwards. Like, yeah, check this out. We'll figure it out.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Well, actually, for them, it's hold my joint. But yeah. But so and we all take pride in that. And it's like, yo, we're J&S Plumbing. We do it. We figure it out. And they're like, oh, gosh, you guys are cheaper too. These other people charged me for 3 trips and never figured it out. It's like, wow, I can't believe that you paid them 3 times. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Here's our card and a shirt. Call us next time, even though calling a plumber is never fun, but we try to make it as easy as possible for people. That's a big thing that I believe in. Don't be a pain in the ass. Show up when you're going to say you're going to show up. If you quote a job a certain price, stick to the price. Stick there or go under. It's very hard to ask for more. It's very easy to
I'm
ask
sure that
for less.
company culture that you set up helped you get to the level that you are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. So right now we're doing a little over $3 million a year revenue. This year I'd like to be at closer to 4. So that'd be around.
That's only for the plumbing business.
Yeah, that's for the plumbing. Yeah. That's for the service. Yeah. With construction, J&S does closer to about $15 million a year. The new construction is booming, man. Tampa, and of course now we go all over the state, and they got some good guys on that construction side that know what they're doing. But service, we're doing free estimates, and then our lowest cost, job is $175 on a commercial job. What's your lowest job? $75,000, wow. Right? Yeah. You're doing something. So it's a different animal. And also too, if anybody's getting in the plumbing business, back to plumbers, new construction plumbers and service plumbers are completely different. They're not the same plumber. So if someone calls to say, I'm a plumber, I want to work for you, ask them what they do. Are they new construction or are they service? And of course, depending on what you're looking for, hopefully you get your right answer. But they're completely different beasts. A new construction plumber doesn't want to be a service plumber and vice versa. Service plumbers want to be at 5 different places in a day.
Different fields.
Yep. Completely different trades. A new construction plumber wants to hide out on one job site for 3 months at a time, get a routine. And a service plumber is kind of bouncing all over the place. He wants to diagnose and find problems and fix them.
Got it.
Right. So anyway, that's a key. That's one thing I messed up on too early on interviewing. So, oh, you're a plumber? Cool. Here you go. They're like, well, I've never cleared a drain before. What do you mean you're a plumber? So, no, I'm yeah.
So you're not a specialist.
Right. Yeah. So make sure you remember that question too.
Got it. So you started the business pretty much from scratch, and then you grew it to the level you have. And I've known you as a friend too. You're a high performer. What was one of the things that you delegated in the beginning on, being more hands off, being on the field, with the guys? What's one of the first things that you delegated for yourself, and then you advise somebody that's growing a trades business, plumbing business, to do themselves?
Do you mean something that I took on, or something that I gave the responsibility to somebody else?
Yes, that you delegated to somebody else. Like, hey, here, Jeff is not doing this anymore.
Right.
You're doing it. You're taking care of this, so Jeff can go pull himself from, like, example, the field or somewhere else so you can focus on other things?
So that took a lot longer than I thought, and that's because it was hard to find good people in the office too. But I didn't really start delegating until about maybe 2 years ago. So year 6. So, but one of the first things I started realizing was these residential calls, the smaller calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else needs to answer those and handle those, because I need to find the bigger fish so that we can make real money. So, and then one thing I taught too, as far as tasks. So find somebody that can answer the phone for you and get the information, right? Kind of like when you call a doctor's office, the doctor's not answering. Hey, what's going on, man? You're going to be like, oh, hey, doc, what should I do? It's like, no, you're going to talk to somebody at the front desk, right? So treat it that way. You're too good to answer every phone call, especially if you know your stuff. Let somebody else. They'd love to do that stuff. Somebody's born for that. They love setting up appointments or, hey, writing stuff down. Hey, make sure you call Mr. Redion with Olympian painting back. He's got a question on the estimate. It's like, okay, I'll get to him, when I can. Instead of if a customer calls, I have to answer and be ready right now.
Got it.
That's how I lived for a long time. We got to be ready to go like firemen. We're going to slide down the pole and run over there and hurry up. And then you can then have the customer argue with us about the price, right? Anyway, so another thing was in the invoicing. Holy smokes. I handled that for about 5 years straight. Every job, of course, every estimate too. I taught somebody how to take the tickets that the plumbers bring in, look over them, make sure we have all the details. So one thing with invoicing that's very important if you're doing it the way I do, which is through QuickBooks and communication with your plumbers, you're not using a software like Service Titan or something like that, is let's say you go to a high rise, you go to the Truist building downtown, it's got 40 floors, and your plumber says fixed leak on his invoice. Well, I can guarantee you there's probably about 25 miles of pipe in that building, right?
Correct.
So, okay, here's what I need to know. We fixed leak in the ceiling of the 36th floor above the maintenance room, above the mop sink, 3/4 inch copper pipe with 7 feet of pipe, and then pictures as well that we attach. Once you can train somebody to, close out your jobs and get it all typed up for you, but include those details, then you will, for me, it freed up about 4 hours a day.
Wow. Just the invoicing and just billing people.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And those phone calls.
So answering the phone, setting up appointments, and then billing people, getting paid pretty much.
Yes. And then obviously too, you teach that person to send out the bills, and then you teach them how to scan the checks and receive the payments. Because I don't know about you guys, but we're receiving all kinds of payments: ACH, check, cash, Square, credit cards, right? So we got a different Podium, the software called Podium, which is great. It's really good for Google review, guys. Look into Podium. My Google reviews skyrocketed when I started using them. And they're not even paying me to say this. I'm just trying to help. But you got to check a bunch of different accounts, right? And I didn't trust anybody with that for a while. So I don't want anybody messing up the books. That is the business, right?
Correct.
But shout out to Rebecca. She's been with me for I don't know, feels like 10 years, but probably 3. And she has come a long way, and she's doing a fantastic job, and I trust her. So that has changed my life, is having a good person like that on your team.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Delegating. That's something that we're trying to do right now. We're hiring our first office people as well. That way, me and Karmelo are not answering the phones or the estimates are coming in. So I can attest to what he's saying. You have to prioritize where you're more valuable in your business. You're not valuable when you're answering and trying to set up estimates and appointments. You're more valuable when you're out there making key relationships, focusing on the forecast of the business, growth, all that.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. And Karmelo, your brother Redion here is fantastic at that, as you can probably tell. And a lot of people don't have those skills. You think that everybody thinks like you, right? For real. You're like, what do you mean? How do you not understand that was an opportunity? It's like,
yeah, not everybody thinks the same way that you'll think as the business owner.
Or just even a sales
mindset.
Like business owner, Still, yeah, I don't,
I remember when we did the sales training together with your guys, and
Oh,
we're like,
God.
I'm like, Jeff, like those guys, they're not gonna think like you. Like they're not gonna see the opportunities. Like for example, like when we go out, I see somebody successful that's doing something. Me and you will see the opportunity of like I can make a key relationship there, and we can like can bring a lot of business in the long run. But like our sales guys, once they clock out, they're done. They don't care about that key relationship that can bring a big check for them.
Right. They think that they're supposed to work from, all right, 7 to 4, and then when they're done. Say, hey, if you're having a good conversation with the guy somewhere, you can be like, hey, by the way, if you ever need a painter, in your case,
Yep.
plumber in my case,
Yep.
hey, hit me up. That is a sales pitch. And that's what, in this day and age with the short attention spans, that's what people want, I think. Oh, speaking of our sales meeting, so actually Redion was really kind enough to give me a nice discount because he charged me so much to paint my house 3 times. Also too, the cabinets, I still look at them and I'm like, oh man, I cannot believe I lived without these painted. He painted my kitchen cabinets too. And it just completely changed our whole house because we have an open floor pan.
Yeah, it looks good.
So I can see it from the screen patio. If I'm coming in from the boat, I can look and see it. I'm like, oh man, because we got that open. I'm like, thank God, because it just looked like, you remember, right?
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah,
It
well, it was
good.
brown before. And I'm like, oh, they're not that bad. And then Olympian painting came in and said, yo, it was bad. Look at this.
Yeah,
Look
it
what
was
we can do.
very outdated. Anyways,
But so that sales meeting, you remember the Ryan guy
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you liked?
Yeah.
Was my buddy.
yep.
Well,
The
he
guy
went,
that wanted you to buy him the laptop.
yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, remember him? Well, he went and so he went and got himself his 3rd DUI in 10 years and didn't tell me about it for a few months. So he's gone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he can't handle it, man. So I just rehired a replacement for him, but guy is very smart, but can't stay out of his own way, and then also is just causing a lot of problems in the office. So, but you saw a lot of potential in him.
I did.
So did I.
Yeah.
I've known him since I was like 19, and just. Yeah, I think you got to understand too, guys, when you're starting a business, it's really easy to print the shirts and print the business cards. It's a lot different than sit down and actually fucking grind for 12, 14 hours a day.
Non-stop 7 days a week, no
Yeah.
holidays.
And there's not really like, okay, well, once I get to this point, I'm going to stop. Like, I'm trying to reach this goal. Like, it's not like a 60-minute football game. Okay, yeah, we won. It's never going to stop. But what you're learning along the way is what works best for you, right?
I think a lot of times people have potential because I train a lot of people in sales and organization and all that, but they have limited beliefs and they don't even believe in their own self. So you could be seeing the potential in him, I could be.
Yeah.
But they're like, maybe I'm not all that. And they just drift apart. They just drift away and then they fall into these bad habits or they limit themselves pretty much and then they don't fulfill their potential.
Yeah. And then it's your fault somehow. So I love the guy. I wish him the best. I haven't talked to him in a little bit, but there's a couple other things that happened. But yeah, I know you're one of the few people that met him, and I've been giving you that update, and it's very sad, man.
It is
very
sad. Yeah,
So-
that guy was a phenomenal communicator.
He was.
That's why I liked him.
He said his biggest thing when he moved down here is like, I can talk to people, I can sell, and also he could drive a trailer and he had a truck. The only thing else he had to learn was the plumbing, which honestly takes a while. But when you have a company set up with 20 employees compared to when I had 1,
It's easy to learn.
it's a fast track.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to learn so much faster than I did. You're going to be making 6 figures so much faster. And it's like, no, you can kick rocks. You know, it was a tough feeling. So I will say this, I've hired 3 friends to work in my business and none of them worked out.
Yeah, we've been on the same boat too. Every time we try to give a friend, because we grew kind of rapidly, we grew our friend group and we always gave people opportunities. They never work out, man.
I don't know why.
I don't know.
Is it because it's just hard to switch the business switch off in your brain and then be friends again? Or is it because you learn a lot about your friend that they're not the dog that you are?
I think the dynamic of the relationship changes when you involve business to it. So they're trying to combine both of them at the same time. And that's my opinion. That's why I don't think it worked with friends or even relatives sometimes.
Well, yeah, you guys are, how many, what's the percentage of family for you guys? Of course, it's your parents too.
Just my dad and my mom is our assistant, which just rides around with us and, just hangs out. But
Yeah, well, I saw her. She was disassembling my cabinets, I think.
yeah, she was just helping out, whatever.
Yeah.
My parents are pretty much retired, so they just.
Well, your dad was outside pressure washing my house, killing it. I was like, hell yeah.
His house was small, man. He's like,
Hey, it's 4,500 square foot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He's like making like I was like making them work.
No. I'm saying I was impressed. You know, dude, I'll tell you, a dream of mine. I don't have kids yet. I'm 33. I would love to, but I swear, man, if I am pressure washing somebody's car or RV or house to prep for my son or daughter's business when I'm your father's age, dream come true.
Yeah.
Like, that will be sick. What else are you supposed to do? You're being productive. You're making a little money, but you're helping your children
build something.
Yeah,
no. 100%.
And you guys started this up in Michigan first too, right?
Yeah, we started from ground zero. When I moved, I don't know if I ever told you my backstory, but yeah, when I moved to Michigan, I was in college too.
Michigan State, right?
Michigan State for 1 year, then I graduated from Oakland University.
Which one?
Oakland University.
Okay.
But anyways, that's the reason I came. And then we started the business pretty much like you from zero. My brother was just moved to America at the time, 2018.
You?
Me.
Just moved? To 2018?
With the parents, yeah.
Okay, so you came over with them to Michigan.
Yeah. 4 years after he already.
And then you're like, yo, this business is great, but this state sucks.
Yeah.
It's too cold.
2 years after, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, so Karmelo came over, and you were here for how long, Redion, before?
Since 2014.
Oh, so 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
How was that?
I was only in college.
Without the family, was that weird?
It was tough, but you know, again, sometimes you just gotta adapt. You don't like let those things slow you down. So I just adapted, and I was like focusing on what I'm gonna do after those 4 years end.
Okay.
So I was already preparing my plan.
Did you know you wanted to start Olympian painting, or did it take until they
No,
moved
if you
over?
watch the first episode of our podcast,
Is it out yet?
It's gonna be out.
Okay, I'm about to say.
February 8th.
Okay, so it's not my fault.
No,
that
it's
I'm not
yet.
prepared. Okay.
So you'll see the origin story, but yeah, I was never planning on starting Olympian painting. I hated painting, but it was the highest paying job at the time while I was a college kid. And then it was supposed to be a supplement company, Olympian Aesthetics. Me and my cousin were gonna go.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it was never meant to be a painting company. So yeah, out of nowhere, I was like, you know, Karmelo, well, screw it. We're not going to work for anybody else anymore. Let's just do what we know how to do already.
Yeah.
And then we started a crew of 3, me, my brother, and my dad. And then that's how we pretty much just took off from it.
Okay, so how did you get your first painting job? Like, when were you like, yeah, you know what? Instead of selling this TRT and some creatine, well, you know, it's kind of been a slow week. Let's paint this guy's house.
So throughout college, I was working for painters because, like I said, it was the highest paying job.
Right,
so
right.
I already knew. And then one guy from my gym was like, hey, can you paint my garage? And that was the first time, like I made like $1,600, which to me was a lot of money for a day's work at the time.
Yeah, what was your material cost? Like $300?
Like $200.
Nice.
So I was like, wow, this is great. I can do my own thing. And then again, I was always thinking about how I can make processes better. And I would always see how my bosses would suck at a lot of things. So I was like, I can do this better. I can do this better. And then that's how I started building the mindset. Like, if I start my own thing, I'm going to be way more successful than them.
Was any kind of license involved with painting? Or is it just your LLC?
Just the LLC, being insured, and that's it.
So how do you fight? I mean, God, that's hard because everybody can buy a can of paint and a paintbrush and roller. And listen, I don't want to do it, but how do you separate yourself to success that you're at? I mean, obviously I see your clients, you're doing mansions and stuff.
Just branding, man. Same with you. Just branding and then just doing good work. And then obviously the marketing. I know you don't do any social media marketing, but
I'm working on it. I got a videographer and photographer now.
So
you see my post, dude? I posted like 8 times last week, man. I'm exhausted.
So
that's good for me.
It's the branding and just doing good work and just hiring good people like you. You know, hiring the A1 players.
Right,
yeah. So that's what helped us. Watch the first episode. We'll go through
I will.
the origin of
looking
how
forward to
we
it.
grew the business to where we are now, multiple locations, and partnering up with an even bigger business as well.
Because listeners, I'll let you know, man, I'm having a great day. You know, I'm starting this Junkyard Dogs hauling company with a couple guys, and my plumbing company's going well. Then I get on Instagram for a minute, And I see Redion and Karmelo's post, and it's like, just locked in a $42 million sale down here in Miami. Not a bad start to the day. Hoping it picks up. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm signing off. I gotta get back to work because I just sold a $400 toilet. Right?
It's just the branding, man.
So these guys are killing it. So I'll vouch. These dudes are legit.
It's how you found me, you know? How did you find me? You saw an ad.
I saw an ad, but I saw your truck on 50th Street, and I was going to work one morning. I was like, yo, that truck's sick. That wrap is cool, but the asshole doesn't have a phone number on the truck. So then I saw it on Instagram. I messaged you. I was over in Lakeland at the park with my girlfriend. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder what it'd be to paint our house. And within like 10 minutes, Redion was like, bet I'll be there tomorrow.
Speed kills.
Get your check. Get your checkbook out. And I was like, yeah, well, you know what? You think you're so cool? I'm gonna make you paint this bitch twice.
So yeah, that's how social media marketing works. And
it did, yeah. He got me, and he responded very quick. And also, I'll tell you this: we kind of speak the same language. You were making sure that I wasn't kicking tires, and I was making sure that you had more than just one paintbrush.
Exactly.
Because I've had people come in that paint, right, and they're cheap, but it takes them 3 weeks to do 2 bedrooms. So I learned out I figured out pretty quick, even just through social media, talking to you on the app, that you meant business, and then you also knew that I meant business. I was like, yeah, we're ready to roll. Let's get married here.
That's why we get along. All right, guys. So we're getting close to wrapping up the first episode. We're gonna get into 2 questions from our audience. Jeff, you're more than welcome to give a little bit of input based on your experience.
Cool.
So we have Ryan's Painting out of New York, who's asking me, what are the 3 pillars of scaling a painting business or any trades business past 7 figures? So Ryan, the first thing I would say is product delivery. You have to produce a good product. You have to give people a good service. If you're not giving people a good product, good service, you're not going to be able to scale because you can't scale a liability. Number 1. Number 2, the branding and the marketing. You can be the best painter, the best plumber, the best contractor, but if people don't know that you exist, they're not going to call you. And then number 3, which I wrote down here for you, systems and knowing your numbers. And Jeff emphasized knowing his numbers in the business was very important to him. But I'm going to say it again, having your bookkeeping in order, your accounting, knowing your numbers and tracking everything, every single dollar that goes in your business and goes out, it's vital. Data is gold for your business. Even like tracking your leads, knowing how many appointments you set, knowing what your closing ratio is, knowing how much you're selling, knowing how much your marketing outlets are performing. All that is very important to scaling a business. And then another bonus I'm going to give you and how you're going to be able to kill your competition is about being more efficient and delivering on time. How Jeff said, I answered the phone right away. I was there the next day. Speed kills. If you're fast and efficient, people will appreciate that. And that's the reason he's sitting here now, because he appreciated the speed. We painted his house. We formed a great friendship. And then that has happened multiple times.
Another piece of advice here, guys, if you're trying to scale, is contact legit businesses and become a vendor on their vendor list. The way you do that is you find a contact with a property management company, like an email address or a big corporation. Email in the first introductory email, include your W-9, your certificate of insurance that shows that you have a $2 million, whatever is required, umbrella insurance policy. So if you, for instance, if we flood their place out, they're like, cool, we can sue these guys. And then also your plumbing license or a business card, a PDF, of your business card. And then attach that in your introductory email, because these people probably get, emailed all the time by Joe Schmo. But as soon as something goes wrong, Joe Schmo's not there. But if you're a legit business, they'll add you to the vendor list. And there might be 25 other tradesmen in your business on there. But if they send you a work order, jump on it fast, like a damn grenade. And go there, knock it out, send an invoice, and feel the customer out. Do they want to be updated or do they want to be left alone? Just send them the invoice. They want to be left alone. I guarantee you'll get a check within 30 days. And during that 30 days, you'll probably get a few more work orders. That's when my business started booming, was how do I become a vendor?
How do I become the guy they call right away?
Yeah, but in my business, it's who, a lot of times who can get there the fastest. So they're you know, I don't mind being on a list of 10 other plumbers, but I want to be one of the first 3 that they call.
Got it.
But I don't want to be everybody's plumber, right? So anyway, speed kills, also knowing your numbers, right? And knowing your numbers isn't like, well, we did 10 million last year, I made 4 million. Okay, yeah, but I'm talking about at the beginning. All right, if this job you're quoting for $2,000 and the materials are 1,600, get your calculator back out.
Correct.
Because what you're doing right now is a hobby.
Your
It's not a
profit margin is
business.
garbage.
Yeah, it's not a business. You have a hobby. So that's what I like to say about knowing your numbers. Down to, at the beginning, down to each job. And don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth. If that job's going to take you 4 days, how much money do you want to take home? You do the math and you're taking home $300 over 4 days. Dude, just go work at McDonald's.
For real.
Right? So get your money. Don't be afraid to go get your money.
You have anything to add, Carmelo, on Ryan's painting question?
Just something on the product delivery that you mentioned earlier. And I think the way you can get good product delivery is by, having your systems down and training your employees under them. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be the one doing the work. So, and something else you said, your employee retention rate, you have about 8 employees that you had for the past 5 years. Keeping them happy will also translate into having a great product.
Well, Jeff, was great having you here, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was an awesome conversation. You gave out a lot of value that even I found valuable.
Really? I hope so.
No, like a lot of things.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, looks like you do, man. So, like, especially the one with the vendors, I think we're going to start doing that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get on the vendor list, man. Apartment complexes, right? Like people are moving out.
Yeah.
14 holes got punched in the wall because Tommy in there loved his wild turkey.
Freaking Tommy.
Loved his wild turkey and his Dallas Cowboys, so he punched the holes in the walls. Yep. Well, when they patch it back up, someone's got to paint it. They're going to call you.
All right, guys. So this wraps up this episode of Dirty Painters Podcast with Jeff here.
Be sure to follow our business on Instagram at Olympian Painting or our personal pages, Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Karmelo, and also follow Jeff and his company at J&S Plumbing _Tampa. See what he's up to. Check out all the cool content he's cranking out right now. Now that he has a videographer.
Yep.
Store.
Yep.
If you guys like this episode, be sure to share it with a fellow painter or tradie or plumber because I'm sure they're going to get a lot of value from Jeff's interview today. Until next time, this is Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
Signing off from the Dirty Painters Podcast.